Hi, welcome to Glow's Kinder Kitchen, and I'm Glow. Well, today we are going to be making some green bean and potato soup. And this is a delicious, easy soup to make, and it originated, as far as I know, in Eastern Europe. And so let's go ahead and get started. What we need to do, I have my pot here starting to preheat, and I am going to put half of a stick or 1/4 of a cup of butter in this pan. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sauteing some celery that I chopped up, including the leaves, and also the green onions. There are 5 green onions here and 5 stalks of celery here. So we're going to go ahead and just start putting everything in. And what we're doing actually is we're making our own cream soup here. This would be what you would consider cream of green onion and celery soup. Instead of using a can, we're going to be making our own. A lot healthier. You can control your sodium. And so I'm going to go ahead and let this saute, and I'll be back to show you the next step. Well, our green onion and celery is getting nicely sauteed here. It's getting kind of translucent and limp. And so the next step is I'm going to put in a half of a teaspoon of, I'm going to show it to you. It's freeze-dried dill. And I'm going to be putting more dill in later, but this will just kind of bloom this right now. And I like to do soups like in layering for the seasonings. And right now I'm going to go ahead and put some pepper in, probably like 1/4 of a teaspoon. I just kind of eyeball it. I just sprinkle it over the top. And then I'm going to put in about 1/2 of a teaspoon of salt at this point. That's a shy half. It smells so good.
It does smell good, Miss Glow.
But this is a very easy way to make your own cream soups. And they taste so much better. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make kind of like a roux. So if you recall, we put in 1/4 of a cup of butter. And now I'm going to put in 1/4 cup of flour. And I'm just going to slowly blend this in. And this is going to make like a roux. So now what I'm doing is I'm just going to combine this flour in with the veggies here and the dill. And I'm going to let this lightly brown. And by doing that, we're going to be adding a more flavor. By browning your flour, it just adds a lot more flavor to your soups, your gravies, whatever it is that you're going to be making. So I'm going to, see how I'm just kind of spreading this out over the bottom of the pan? The reason I'm doing that is so more of the flour is going to be on the bottom of the pan to brown. So I'll be back in a couple minutes and I'll show you the next step. Hi, well, welcome back. Look at this browning that we have going on here. Can you see that? That's your friend in soups. Miss Glow. It adds a lot of flavor. So now my next goal here is I need to add some water. Now the reason I'm making this recipe today is one of our subscribers, Angel, she asked me to make a soup with my reserved potato water that I always save. So thank you, Angel. I had forgotten about this soup and how delicious it is, and I've been thinking about you. And so I'm going to go ahead and add the potato water. This is 2 cups of it. You want to do it slowly. There we go. So I'm going to just stir this around until it gets nice and combined and the flour gets mixed in well with this and the vegetables. And the fat that was on the bottom of the pot will come right off. And that adds a lot of flavor to your soup. So I'm going to go ahead and continue stirring this. And then what I'm going to do next is we're going to be adding some additional water. And I'll be back in just a little bit. Well, as you can see, the potato water and the celery and the onion are all getting happy in here with a little bit of that dill and the butter. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little of this is powdered milk. This is 3/4 of a cup. And I just slowly add that.
It is definitely smelling good, Miss Chloe.
Oh, thank you. So I'm going to be back in just a little bit after I get this stirred in good, and then we'll continue on. Hi. Well, as you can see, look how in the bottom of this pot, how this is thickened up. So I'm going to add some more water. This is 5 cups of water. And you just add it slowly. And you keep stirring to combine everything. And I switched over to a whisk so I could get that powdered milk mixed in there real good. So I'll be back in just a little bit. I'm going to continue to add the water and the powdered milk to it. This will probably take a total of probably about 7 minutes, and I'll be back with you. Hi. Well, I just wanted to show you a little trick that I do. See that powdered milk that's left in this cup? That's because of the steam coming off as I was adding it. So what I'm going to do is just add some water to this cup, and that will help with that. And I can use this measuring spoon that I used for the dill. And actually it had a little bit of dill in it still. So that way you're not wasting anything. And there it goes. So anyway, I just wanted to show that to you, and I'm going to go ahead and add this additional water. And I'll be back with you in a little bit. I need to let this come to, like a low boil. And then I'm going to be adding the potatoes. Hi. Well, our soup is the broth here, along with the onions and the celery and everything, are coming together real nice, and it's at a low, like boil. And the reason I don't want any more than that is because it's milk, and you don't want that at a full boil. So at this point, we're going to be adding some potatoes and some parsley. So what I did is I bought some baby potatoes. I have the red potatoes, and I left the peels on, and some Yukon Gold. I have 3 of each, and I just cut them in bite-sized pieces. And I'm going to go ahead and put those in. I'm going to try and have it close, to the pot as you're putting it in so it doesn't splatter. And then I have parsley. And what I do for fresh parsley is I buy some and I put it in a canning jar or anything that you might have, like a glass that would work, along with water. And then you store it in your refrigerator with just a bag, like a produce bag over the top, and it acts like a greenhouse. I've had this parsley now for probably a month, maybe even a little longer. You can see how it really works. It keeps it so nice.
Looks good, Miss Chloe.
So for this soup, I usually put in a total of a 1/2 cup. Right here is probably 1/3 that I just minced up, and that's going to start it. And at this point, I'm going to be adding some salt and pepper. And today I decided to use some salt that's flavored with bacon. So I think that'll go really well with this, and I'm going to go ahead and put some in. That's probably 1/2 teaspoon. That smells good. Smells really good.
It does.
So this is going to need to cook now for about 30 minutes. So I'm going to turn my heat down to low, and I'll be back in 30 minutes, and we'll take a look at it, and we'll test, how the flavors are at that point, so that we know what we need to add. See you back. Well, our soup has been busy cooking here probably about 40 minutes, and you're supposed to cook it until the potatoes are soft, which they are. And now at this point, we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. So one of the ingredients is the bag. This is 12 ounces of cut green beans. You could use the French style if you wanted, whatever you have on hand. You just pour that in. And then you put in, let's see, so you can watch here. This is dill. I'm going to start off with about I would say this is about a teaspoon, because I'm using a tablespoon measuring thing here right now. And then we're going to add some nutmeg. Nutmeg goes really well with green beans and potatoes and milk and cream. So I'm going to probably about between an eighth and a quarter. This is probably an eighth of a teaspoon of nutmeg at this point. But you do it to taste. You got to be careful when you're using it that you don't put too much in. So we'll start off with this and we'll see what it's like towards the end. And the other thing I'm going to put in, I had put in some black pepper in the beginning, if you remember, when we were doing up the green onions and the celery and everything. Now I'm going to use white pepper. White pepper is delicious in cream soups. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of that in. And that's not even an eighth of a teaspoon there. But just remember, you can't take away, but you can always add. Oh, it smells so good. I had turned up the heat too. This was cooking on low. My burner does cook rather hot, so it was on low all this time. But I did turn it up to a 4. And then once it starts, you know, steaming pretty good, I will turn it back down because the beans right now are frozen. So anyway, we will be back in a little while and we'll sample it and then probably adjust a little bit with salt and the other seasonings. Hi, well, our beans have been cooking here now for about 5 minutes. And I had forgotten to mention that I add sour cream after the beans have been sitting in here for a little bit. This is about a half a cup. And I'm going to go ahead and this is not low fat. This is the real sour cream.
Full fat.
Yep. So we're going to go ahead and stir that in. And once this gets all incorporated, I'll be putting the lid on again to let it cook. And this needs to cook for a good half hour probably. So anyway, we'll be back in just a little while. It smells so good. Well, our soup has been here cooking for about a half an hour. And just before you guys came back, I did sample it. And it needed a little bit more seasoning, but not much. I would say about an eighth of a teaspoon of this salt that is flavored with bacon. And then about a 1/16 of a teaspoon of the white pepper. And this 1/16 of a teaspoon of the nutmeg. And then I would say about a 1/4 of a teaspoon of this dill. And once I put those added amounts in, I sampled it and it was delicious, but I'm going to go ahead and sample it now again while you guys are here. I'll let this cool for a moment. I got to tell you, this soup is so economical to make. And I always try to purchase stuff that's on sale. You know, just especially today with the prices of stuff. For example, the potatoes in here, they were buy one, get one for the bags of potatoes. They're normally like at least $5 a bag, and they were on sale for $2.50. buy one, get one was what they were. And then the beans, I got at Aldi, frozen beans, and they're about 80 cents, I want to say, for a bag, maybe a little more, but not much. And then I used the water that I had saved from potatoes earlier. And then, of course, you just have your green onions and your celery. And if you didn't have green onions, you could use regular onions. It would be fine. When you're making a soup and making your roux, it's real important to make sure that you brown your flour really good because it really enhances it. This soup here is by far much better health-wise and flavor than if you used a canned cream soup. So anyway, Angel, thank you for asking me to make you a soup using that potato stock. I really appreciate it. Well, I know we're going to enjoy this tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and take a sample right now. It is delicious. It's very good. I'm going to really enjoy this tonight with that herb bread too. So, Angel, I wish you were here to have dinner with us and all of you. And I hope you've enjoyed this. And if you have, please like and subscribe to our channel. We would really appreciate it. I hope you have a great evening. Bye.